Have you ever felt like you're playing life on a completely different channel than everyone else? Like you're constantly tuning into a frequency that nobody else can hear? Maybe it's the stack of half-read books on your nightstand. Or the way you can't seem to focus unless there is a specific type of background noise playing. For years, you've probably tried to fix these things. You've bought the planners. You've tried the sleep schedules. You've tried to be normal. But every time you try to fit into those neat little boxes, it feels like wearing shoes that are 3 sizes too small. It's exhausting. And it leaves you asking a dangerous question. Is there something wrong with me? Here is the truth. You're paying the weirdo tax. This is the mental toll of trying to force a high-performance, complex brain into a system designed for simplicity. We live in a world that worships conformity. We're told that clean desks, early mornings, and quiet minds are the only keys to success. But science is starting to paint a completely different picture. Those strange little quirks you try to hide, they aren't bugs in your system. They are features. In fact, they might be the clearest signs that your brain is operating on a level most people can't even comprehend. Let's look at the evidence. Walk into any corporate office or scroll through any social media feed. What do you see? Aesthetic minimalism. Clean, white desks. Color-coded calendars. People who wake up at 4:30 a.m. to drink green juice and meditate. It looks peaceful. It looks organized. But for a highly active mind, that kind of environment isn't peaceful. It's a sensory desert. And a starving brain will always act out. Traditional productivity is built on a lie, the idea that order equals efficiency. This works perfectly if your job is to put caps on bottles in a factory. But if your job is to solve complex problems, make unique connections, or create something from scratch, order can actually be a trap. When your brain is highly active, it doesn't process information in a straight line. It operates like a hyperlinked database. One thought leads to a memory, which sparks a random fact you learned 5 years ago, which connects to a problem you're trying to solve right now. This is called divergent thinking. And divergent thinking thrives on a certain level of randomness. When you try to force that beautifully chaotic process into a rigid, linear schedule, your brain rebels. You procrastinate. You get distracted. You feel burnout before you even start. You think you're failing the system. But the truth is, the system is failing you. Because your brain has its own way of finding order in the chaos, and it starts with how you handle your physical space. Let's start with the classic sign of a broken habit, the messy desk. If you look at your workspace right now, is it pristine? Or does it look like a paper factory exploded on it? For decades, we've been told that a cluttered desk equals a cluttered mind. But researchers at the University of Minnesota decided to put this to the test. They placed participants in either a clean, orderly room or a messy, disorganized room. Then, they asked them to brainstorm new uses for ping pong balls. The results were startling. The people in the messy room didn't just come up with more ideas. Their ideas were rated as significantly more creative and innovative.
Why?
Because physical order implicitly signals to your brain that it should play safe. It tells you to follow the rules, color within the lines, and conform. But a messy environment signals that it's okay to break the rules. It literally frees your brain from cognitive constraints. This is called cognitive anchoring. Your messy desk isn't actually messy to you. It's a spatial map of your active thoughts. You know exactly where that one scrap of paper is because it's physically anchored to a specific train of thought. And this anchoring happens in other weird ways too, like doodling. Have you ever been in a meeting and realized you've spent the last 20 minutes drawing elaborate geometric shapes on your notebook? To your teacher or your boss, it looks like you've completely checked out. But neurological studies show that doodling actually prevents your brain from losing focus entirely. When a task is boring, your brain wants to escape into deep daydreams. Doodling acts as a small anchor, keeping just enough of your cognitive energy occupied so that you stay present in the room. It's not a distraction. It's a survival mechanism for your focus. But physical space is only half the battle. What about time? There is a quiet war raging in our society between the morning people and the night owls. And right now, the morning people are winning the PR battle. We're told that waking up early is the mark of discipline, success, and maturity. But what if your peak brain power doesn't show up until everyone else is asleep? Study after study has shown a clear link between late sleep schedules and high cognitive ability. In fact, evolutionary psychologists believe this is a deeply rooted survival trait. Back in our tribal days, the individuals with the most active minds were often tasked with the night watch. They had to stay alert, process quiet sounds in the dark, and make split-second decisions while the rest of the tribe slept. Today, that evolutionary wiring manifests as the night owl phenomenon. But there's also a sensory reason smart people love the night. During the day, your brain is bombarded with cognitive noise. Emails, traffic, conversations, social cues, fluorescent lights. For an analytical mind, this is exhausting because you can't help but process all of it. At 2 a.m., that noise finally stops. The world goes quiet, the expectations vanish, and your brain can finally breathe. This is when your default mode network takes over. This is the brain state responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and deep creative leaps. Have you ever caught yourself staring blankly out a window for minutes at a time, completely lost? You might feel guilty, like you're wasting time. But in those quiet, blank moments, your brain is actually running massive background simulations. It's connecting memories, testing scenarios, and sorting through problems you didn't even know you were working on. It's not a waste of time. It's cognitive processing at its highest level. So, how do we stop fighting these natural patterns and start using them to our advantage? If you want to unlock the true potential of your mind, you have to stop trying to cure your quirks. You need to start managing them. First, declare war on the guilt of your natural schedule. If you work best at midnight, stop forcing yourself to run a marathon at 6 a.m. Structure your day so that your most creative, intense thinking happens during your natural peak hours, whenever those may be. Second, design a micro-chaos zone. You don't want your entire life to be a disaster that just causes anxiety. Instead, keep your shared living spaces clean, but give yourself one designated area where you are allowed to let the mess accumulate. Let your desk, your studio, or your notebook be a wild, unregulated space where your brain can play without rules. Third, embrace the system cooldown. Because your brain processes more data, you're going to get socially and mentally exhausted faster than other people. This isn't antisocial behavior. It's thermal management. When you feel the need to disappear into a dark room or take a solo walk, do it without apologizing. Your brain needs that silence to cool down its circuits. If you don't give it that time, it will take it anyway, usually in the form of brain fog, irritability, or anxiety. Learn to read your mind's signals like a dashboard. It's easy to look at people who easily glide through life and feel a sense of envy. They don't overthink their text messages. They don't lay awake at night wondering how the universe works. They don't have messy desks or strange habits that make people raise their eyebrows. But they also don't see the world in high definition. They don't experience the thrill of connecting two seemingly impossible ideas. They don't feel the deep, quiet satisfaction of solving a problem that everyone else gave up on. The history of human progress was not written by comfortable, normal people. It was written by the restless, the obsessive, the night owls, and the daydreamers. It was written by people who were told their habits were strange, but who refused to quiet the storm in their minds. Your quirks are not a curse. They are the signature of a mind designed for something deeper. So stop trying to fit into a world that was built for average. Keep talking to yourself. Keep staying up late. Keep finding order in your own beautiful chaos. Because the world doesn't need more people who fit in. It needs people who see things differently. And that is exactly what you were born to do.